Welcome to the Ultraflex Football Podcast. I am your host, Anthony Sutton. With me, as always, are my friends Roberto Green
What
and
is up, everyone?
Ryan Wheeler, ready to hit us with some knowledge. Fire away.
Fire away. All right, so we are looking at the Did You Know for this week, and this one is interesting, and it's going to take me a minute to run these through, but it's where the names of the month come from, like every month of the year. I didn't know any of these, literally not a single one, but January is named for the Roman god Janus, protector of gates and Janus, protector of gates and doorways. February is Latin, is the Latin word came from was februa for cleanse, named after the festival of purification and atonement that lasted 1 month in Rome. March was the Roman goddess of war, Mars. This was the time of year to resume military campaigns that stopped for the winter. So at least they stopped during the winter. April is from the Latin word apero, it looks like. Latin for to open or bud. So this is when the plant started growing. May, the goddess of Maya, who oversees plant growth. So just she was the one that looked over the plants, also from the word mayores, it looks like, which means elders who are celebrated for this month. And then we have June, Roman goddess Juno. She was patroness of marriage and well-being of women. July honors Julius Caesar. With help, he developed the Julian calendar, the precursor for the Gregorian calendar that we currently use. So I definitely didn't know that July was named after Julius Caesar. I thought that was pretty
Didn't
interesting.
know that either.
August is named to honor the first Roman emperor, Augustus Caesar. Didn't know that. And then the next four are kind of lame: September, October, November, December. September just means 7, which in the Roman calendar it was the 7th month. September was, and then octo means 8. November, novem means 9, and December, decem means 10 in Latin. So there you have it. Hopefully you learned something. That's what I'm here for.
I like it. I like it a lot. Dropping knowledge as always. We are going to shift over to our ranks. Where, as always, we're going to rank 3 things. This time, we might actually double up and rank 6 things. We're doing cartoons. We're going to do our favorite cartoons from when we were kids to start it off with. And I will go first with my 3rd favorite cartoon when I was a kid. And that is going to be Spongebob. There's the old OG. It's still going today, I believe. I don't know if there's new episodes going today, but it's still on the TV today.
Yep.
And just always funny. The dynamic with Squidward and Mr. Krabs. It's just a good time. So my number 3 is Spongebob.
I think it's like a new spin-off with like different animation. It's like all the same characters, but yeah, it's still on TV.
I think
Still
SpongeBob is
rocking.
like it actually lowers your IQ. Like
I don't care when I'm 7 years
show
old.
is terrible.
So I had it on my honorable mentions though, because I mean, you could quote so much of SpongeBob. I feel like everybody knows at least something. Everyone knows the theme song for sure, even if you don't like the show. So it's definitely a classic from our childhood. My number 3, I went with Rugrats.
That was a good one.
Yeah, babies getting into trouble.
Reptar.
Following their adventures. Yeah, Reptar. There's like 3 movies that spun off from it. They had the All Grown Up series that came from it. So
yep,
it's a good one.
My number 3 was Teen Titans. I just thought the whole Teen Titans thing was pretty cool. I ain't gonna lie, I didn't watch all that much cartoons, so my list is kind of like meh. But all right, Tony, what's your number 2?
Number 2 for me is Recess. This was, I mean, different age group than SpongeBob, but I thought I was an athletic kid. It turns out we just went to a small school and You don't have to be very athletic. But at the time, I was 10 years old, and I was watching them play kickball, and I was like, "Yep, that's me right there. I'm just dominating all these kids playing kickball." So I loved recess.
That was you, dude. You were the best kickball player in the
I
yard.
don't even think we played kickball in
No,
school.
probably not.
We played mat ball. Remember, dude, mat ball.
That ball was legit.
It was basically kickball.
It was.
Yeah.
Inside, yeah.
Just had to run more.
Yeah.
You just couldn't hit the ceiling. That was a crap rule.
Yeah.
And you had to run around twice, right? You had to run around the bases twice in order for it to count.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were some weird rules for sure. So my number 2, I chose the Fairly Odd Parents.
Okay.
That's another one that's still kicking. They just respun that off with like a live action series of it, which I haven't watched, but I know I see like the commercials on Paramount Plus for it. But those first few seasons of Fairly Odd Parents were hilarious. And I mean, when you're a kid, I mean, even now, who wouldn't want some fairy godparents who could just grant them their every wish whenever they wanted to be perfect, right?
Yes, please.
Absolutely.
My number 2 is now that I have a baby, which, speaking of, Anthony, congratulations.
Yeah,
On his
congratulations,
second
man.
Thank
child.
you.
Want to give him a shout out?
Yeah, Camden Sutton is 6 days old. He's about 12 feet from me. So if he starts to cry, you'll probably hear him. And that's why if you're watching on YouTube, my eyes are baggy.
We appreciate you being here.
We do appreciate you.
3 hours of sleep for the last 6 days.
Oof, that's rough. Good luck, man. So now that I have a child, the only show that I really let her watch is Bluey, because I think it's phenomenal and it's hilarious and it actually is educational for both parents and children. So I'm gonna go with Bluey for my number 2.
All right.
Okay.
Number 1 for me was Uncle Tito, Wiggity 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 Wiggity, Rocket Power. If you didn't watch Rocket Power, you didn't watch them shredding away on the skateboard and rollerblades.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I'm tired.
I was trying to figure out what you were doing. Wiggity wiggity.
Uncle Tito, bro. If you don't know Uncle Tito, you gotta go watch Rocket Power.
I'll have to go back and watch some Rocket Power.
Do you not remember Rocket Power, Ryan?
I remember it, but like I don't know that I could point if you like showed.
I feel like you definitely watched it. I feel like I remember watching it with you.
Man, I don't know. Probably, but I don't remember much from my childhood. So,
all right.
What do you got?
My number 1 is Pokemon.
Boom!
Gotta catch them all.
All right, I'm right there with you. My number 1 is also Pokemon.
Yeah, that's the best choice.
Yeah,
I feel like it was part of our lives for so long,
including into our like late 20s.
I still play like some of the Pokemon Switch games and that.
No so early for me there. Also.
Yeah.
I apologize for being unprofessional right now, but again, it's been a long week. Are we doing the adult cartoons, or are we saving that for next time?
Oh no, we're doing them.
We're doing them. All right, I got them ready. I just wanted to make sure. Yeah. Number 3 for me is South Park. I think in high school, I wasn't up to date on current events and the news and things like that, and a lot of the adult cartoons fall into this category where if you're not up to date, they're not funny. So I used to think, I'm not going to name them because there's more on my list. I used to think that some of these were stupid because I was like, I don't get it. But now as the current events are more important to me, South Park for me is number 3. It's funny.
Yeah, that's a big thing for me with South Park, which is on my list also, not at number 3. So we'll wait. But my number 3 is probably the most iconic cartoon series, The Simpsons. It's going up. It's 34th season is coming up this year. So I don't know how you couldn't have it on the list. I had to make space for it. So it's still going.
Wow.
It started, I believe, in 1989. So yeah.
That's crazy. I can't say that I've ever really sat down and watched The Simpsons. I've seen a few of what'd you say?
South
South Park.
Park.
South Park. Okay, that's what I thought. I just didn't want to say any other ones that aren't making the list. Once again, I don't really care to watch adult cartoons. So I let my wife throw in one, and I also wanted to come up with like 3 that hopefully you guys didn't say, so we could give a little bit of a variety. And she had Happy Tree Friends, apparently, and she made me watch like 2 3-minute long videos on YouTube, and it was like I just sat there with my mouth like gaping open, like what the heck is going on? This is the weirdest thing. I don't know. You guys ever seen it?
No, I've never seen that one.
Never heard
Dude,
of it.
it's like the most sick thing you've ever seen. It's just disgusting.
Describe. I mean, what do you mean sick? Describe sick.
Like there's like bunnies and there's like a moose thing, and they're apparently in every one of them. That's kind of like South Park where Kenny always dies, right? Well, these things are always dying. Like they're just finding different ways to get
Like cute
dismembered.
animals.
Cute little bunnies. Yeah,
Oh
they're
man.
getting slaughtered. It was just so dumb.
Number 2 for me is The Simpsons, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. Same reason as South Park, and then same thing Rob said. It's been around forever, so to me, it's an OG.
You know all the characters. Everybody knows all the characters. Ryan even knows the characters, and he doesn't watch it.
Spider Pig, Spider Pig.
My number 2 is South Park. So I mean, for the same reasons, really. I just love how it's so up to date with like current events. Like their episodes will come out and it'll be stuff that just happened like a week ago in real life. It feels like it's just crazy to me how that happens, and it's always hilarious. Oh, and before I forget, I had a few honorable mentions from the kids cartoons to throw out there. Hey Arnold.
Football Head.
Yep.
Let's go.
And I always loved Scooby-Doo growing up. Like any of those, like the mysteries always got me, kept me interested.
Scooby-Doo almost made my list. My number 2 is Disenchantment. I watched like, I don't know, a couple episodes. I think it was on Netflix. And I know I laughed at least a few times, so it's making a list.
That's the one with the little green elf, right?
Yes. Little green elf and like a shadow demon thingy, but it's not like evil. It's just
that one's made from the creator of The Simpsons.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, so I have The Simpsons on my list too.
Yeah.
Number 1 for me, it's not an adult cartoon, but as we just talked about, I have a 6-day-old and I have an 18-month-old. So I kind of went reverse on this one. Now that I am an adult, my favorite cartoon is Mickey Mouse Clubhouse because it is Grayson's favorite cartoon. And when I come home from work, or right now when we're trying to assist the 6-day-old, we can just throw on a 25-minute episode of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and he just zonks out, and it's like a 25-minute rest. Probably not the best parenting in the world, but hey, I'm not here to get. I don't care.
Dude, man, we're not here to judge you.
There's about 5 seasons of that. I think my daughter's probably watched them through at least 3 or 4 times. So I've seen every episode a few times. And
then if we're talking about a theme song everyone knows, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse is a theme song everyone knows.
Good one.
How does it go?
Oh, wow. It's the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Come inside. It's fun inside. It's the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
He's got
it. Good job, Tony.
Roll call. Donald.
Oh,
Daisy.
Boy. All right. You're good.
All right. We'll move on.
Hilarious.
My number 1, you can kind of see where I'm going here. I got the wall art there, the Pickle Rick. My number 1 is Rick and Morty. And that is my favorite episode of all time, probably of any show. So my wonderful wife drew that picture for me and painted it, and it's on my wall. So Rick and Morty is my favorite. Love the sci-fi, love the action. It's hilarious. Yeah, it's great.
I heard it's pretty in-depth thought too.
Yeah,
like they go pretty deep.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. So my number 1. I watched I think like an episode or 2 at your house, Rob, and I thought it was pretty funny actually. I've never like gone back to watch it by myself, but Big Mouth. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. I have that on my honorable mentions.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yep.
I thought that was pretty darn funny, and I remember laughing pretty hard.
Yeah,
So
it's so funny. It touches on like those kind of weird aspects no one wants to talk about, like growing up, like puberty and
yeah,
yeah.
I thought that was awfully funny. So that makes my number
It
one.
sometimes goes over the top, I will say, but it's
Does it?
hilarious. Yeah.
Oh well, I hope I didn't just endorse something extremely vulgar, but
I know. We're about to get,
No, it's
about to get
adult.
shut down.
It's an adult cartoon for a reason. My other one more honorable mention I had was Solar Opposites, which is made by the creator of Rick and Morty. So another one worth checking out if you haven't.
shout out
All
to
right.
more Rick and Morty.
A lot of good stuff there. Now we'll get into some football talk. We just had week 1 of the NFL season, and we're going to discuss our overall takeaways, the good, the bad, what teams are looking good, what players are looking good, what teams are looking bad, what players disappointed. And we'll go from there. And instantly, I know I was talking to you guys about this earlier, but like recapping a week, I want to so badly just do it like Chris Berman used to do back in the day, where he would show the highlights and he'd be like, the Bills 31, the Rams 10, and whoop. All right, then you go to the next game. You guys know what I'm talking about? The whoop.
Fire it off.
Oh yeah, I know. I got you.
That's always up.
Maybe we can work
Ryan.
on that. We'll see.
Ryan, what is your biggest takeaway from week 1?
First of all, shout out to Rob. Last episode when it was ending, I played the outro music, and Rob and I said "Go Titans" at the end, and Rob said "Not on my watch." And while the outro music was playing, if you go back and listen, you hear him say "Go Bills," because he couldn't have the Titans be the last team mentioned on this podcast. So
No, I would have kept saying "Go Bills" if you said "Go Titans."
So, I conceded, and he got "Go Bills" in last. And damn, guys, the Bills look good, and they looked good while playing not that great. Like 4 turnovers, was it? They had 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles. The rookie got booted to the bench as soon as he went in there and fumbled his first
one
carry.
carry, one fumble. Yeah.
Yeah,
Zach Moss had a fumble late when the game was already 31-10. But
yeah, that game was awesome to watch as a Bills fan. We've been saying for a while now that we think the Bills are the best team in the NFL, and they look like they proved it going into the previous Super Bowl champs home, and just giving it to them.
oh, it was a perfect way to kick off the year.
Yeah,
as a Bills fan.
We got home from the hospital Saturday night, so I was able to watch all the games pretty much Sunday while hanging out with the little dude, and the whole time I was making notes for my takeaway here. So I got all the takeaways, and my very first one is, man, is it awesome to have Josh Allen as our quarterback? Because looking around the league, well, watching the game Thursday and just seeing how dominant he can be at times with his legs and throwing the ball.
How about that stiff arm too?
Just throwing a guy like 5 yards. But
looked like Derrick Henry out there.
Almost.
Watching some of the quarterback play, and then like you think about, like, I know it was a monsoon and crazy, but you got like Trey Lance and Justin Fields completing like 8 passes and 11 passes, and now Trey Lance is like, is it going back to Jimmy G or is it not? You got Mitch Trubisky for the Steelers, who had like 5 turnovers, and they have to go to overtime to win the game because, and I'm a UNC fan, but Trubisky can't get more points off of 5 turnovers. And then other just bad quarterback play. So my very first takeaway as a Bills fan is, for the first 23 years of my life, we were those teams that had, unfortunately, Trent Edwards and JP Lossman and Tyrod Taylor and Ryan Fitzpatrick.
EJ Manuel.
Yeah, you name it. But now we have top 2-3 quarterback in the league, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, I thought you forgot his name for a second there because you look really tired. But I was going to cover you. I was like, Josh Allen.
So let's keep on the Bills here for my big takeaway. And that is that, to me, after watching week 1, seeing the Bills play and how they dominated the Rams, and then seeing the Chiefs play and how they dominated the Cardinals, the Bills and Chiefs appear to be on a collision course again this year to play in the playoffs. And to me, I think it's pretty obvious the AFC is going to go through those two teams. One of those two teams should be representing the AFC in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. If we're going to get the best show, I think that one of those two teams has to be on. Make it.
I hope we get it in the AFC Championship game. I just hope it's in Buffalo this time.
Yeah.
I think you can make a case that the 4 best teams are in the AFC with Buffalo, Kansas City, the Ravens, and the Chargers.
I agree.
Yeah, the Bucs I think in that top tier, but
yeah, I'd say I think Bills and Chiefs are 1 and 2, and then the Bucs, Chargers, and Ravens can kind of just be whatever order you want. Ryan, you got another takeaway?
Yeah, so you mentioned it. I was thinking, I want to know your guys' opinion. Do you think that if Jimmy G, which my hot take was wrong because he did not start week 1 for the 49ers, which is just a big bummer, but do you think if Jimmy G was in there instead of Trey Lance, they win that game?
I don't take too much away from that game. Just seeing the conditions and how it played out, I think it's too hard to say.
Okay,
I don't
personally.
I don't take much away from the game as far as Trey Lance is concerned, because you can't say like we're going to evaluate him off of a monsoon game. But I will say I do think Jimmy G's experience and just overall,
that's where I was going.
Ability to hit a screen pass here and there and move the ball more effectively does get them enough points. What was the final score of the game?
Yeah, you'd hope they'd get more than, I think it was 19-10, right?
Yeah, I think Jimmy G can find them 20 points somewhere.
Yeah, I think Jimmy G would have done enough to get them that win for sure.
A second takeaway is the Steelers' defense is very, 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 very good, and that's going to be part of my fantasy update later. But if they can do anything on offense, we picked the Steelers to win. I'm trying to remember how many games. 8 games. If their defense can continue, they're not going to cause 5 turnovers every game, but their defense is going to keep them in every single game. So if they are able to score 21 to 24 points a game, they're going to go probably 10-7 and have a chance at the playoffs.
Yeah, I feel really good about that 8 number. That feels about right. The offense is not good. Najee Harris.
And it's a tough division.
Yeah, very tough.
The Browns looked better than I expected them to without Watson.
Yeah.
Their defense is really good. I mean, all the defenses in that division are good.
Yeah.
You have another takeaway, Rob?
Yeah. My second big takeaway was just the amount of upsets we saw, which I feel like week 1s can usually be a little weird. But I mean, we had multiple 6-7 point favorites just losing outright. Like Steelers beat the Bengals. The Texans somehow tied the Colts. They could have played for the win. I don't know why they punted in overtime. I guess they didn't want to lose, but
didn't want to lose.
Man, play for the win, right? That was. If the Bills did that, I'd be embarrassed. I'll just say that.
I'll give you a shout out, Rob. You're probably too humble. We picked the games last week, and with all the upsets, Rob still picked 9 of the games correct.
Took the points in a lot.
You would have won some money in Vegas picking 9 correct.
So yeah, also Bears over 49ers. Giants beat the Titans. Sorry, Ryan. And then none of us saw the Seahawks going out and beating the Broncos. So just my question there is this going to be a trend for this season? Is there going to be a lot of upsets? Is it there's just a lot of teams that are closer in talent than we thought, and maybe the teams like the Bills and Chiefs, like we said, are just so much better, and the rest of the teams are kind of close? Or is it just going to be a weird week 1 and we'll just write it off at starting this next week?
I can't say write it off week 1, but it doesn't seem like something I'm willing to think that this is going to continue throughout the season. Like week 1, you know who you're preparing for as soon as you see the schedule. It just in a lot of those games were like there were division games, and I know Russ and Seattle wasn't a division game, but Seattle felt like they brought a different energy to that game right off the bat.
Yeah, it was like their Super Bowl.
Yeah, they played inspired, and
Yeah.
that was really strange. We picked Seattle for the Survivor League to lose, or I'm sorry, we picked Denver to win that game, and well, we're out week 1, so not super awesome for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't put too much into week 1, especially I don't know.
Well,
It was strange, man.
as we'll see when we do our game picks, there's some big lines this week, even bigger than week 1. So if we see these upsets continue, then maybe it is a trend that these teams are closer than people think.
Yeah.
I know it is week 1. You can't take too much into it or think about it too hard, but I do think this year it's more top heavy than it has been in the past, or especially last year. I mean, the 2 teams that made it to the Super Bowl last year were both 4 seeds. Now that could happen again if 2 teams get hot, right? But I think it's more likely that there's about 6 teams, 5 teams that, in my opinion, can make a run at it. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Rob, Ryan, you have a third one?
Yeah, I'm so disappointed in the Titans. To have the Giants come to Nashville, and I think they were 5.5-point favorites, and to just be up 13-0 at halftime and give up all those points in the second half. I think it was like 21 points in the second half. Just so disappointing. And then to cap it off with a missed field goal to lose it. Kyle Phillips made a great catch on this, like late in the game to put them in field position, and it's hard to watch, and you don't feel good as a Titans fan this year, like going into Buffalo, week 2. Normally, it feels like there's something about the Titans where they lose to bad teams and they somehow come away with wins against the really good teams that there's no way they should beat. Like last year, it was the Chiefs and the Bills. There's just no way it feels like they should be beating those teams, and somehow they do. But this year doesn't feel like they have that magic in them. It just feels different. I'm guessing it's the A.J. Brown. He's not in there to take the top off the defenses so that Henry can actually get some lanes to run. Henry didn't look good anyway. He was missing holes. I know their coach even called him out, saying like the running backs left a lot of yards on the field. Mike Vrabel, holy crap, his name just completely left my mind. But the Titans, man, they don't look good offensively. They don't look good defensively. It's going to be I fear it will be a long year for Titans fans.
Well, I think they're a well-coached team, so we'll see if they can put it together and bounce back.
I think Vrabel is a great coach, top 10, but I don't think coaching's enough for this team, honestly.
What a weekend for kickers, huh? Holy moly.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah,
this isn't my takeaway.
Cut their kicker already.
I know. This isn't my takeaway, but it was fun. I mean, how fun was the end of the 1:00 games there? I mean, I think I was texting you guys and my brother, and it was just like 2 games in overtime. 2 games were coming down to a field goal. It was just insane. It was
just miss after miss in Cincinnati.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. My last takeaway is coaching matters, which I think we think about all of these guys as being professional athletes. Shouldn't matter too much. But then you look at like Brian Dable goes to the Giants. Now they won by 1 on a missed field goal. So I'm not saying the Giants are going to go to win the Super Bowl. But Daniel Jones was 17 for 21. He only threw for like 200 yards, so he wasn't tearing it up. But he looked like a better quarterback. Saquon Barkley looked like a much better running back than he did last year. And then even like the opposite side of that is Mac Jones, who the Patriots, we talked about this either last week or the week before that. They have Matt Patricia calling their plays, the whole training camp. Everyone was just saying how big of a mess it is. the Patriots scored 7 points, and they're just going to be a mess all year. And I think they don't have the most talented roster in the league, but I think some of that, which is kind of crazy to say because Belichick's there, is coaching, and they don't have an offensive coordinator. And then the third coach is Nathaniel Hackett, who used to be in Buffalo. But the way that the Broncos ended that game, you either, in my opinion, you either hurry up and go for it because you still have 3 timeouts left. So you can either get it on 4th down and then get yourself closer for the field goal, or if they stop you on 4th down, you still have, there's 50 seconds left. If you hurry up and get on the ball and go for it, you can try to get the ball back with your 3 timeouts. I'm not paying Russ $200+ million to kick a 64, 65-yard field goal when I can try to get that first down. So,
Russ definitely ain't going to make a 64-yard field goal. Sorry, I was just playing off the way you said that.
I got one more short takeaway, but I think the Eagles are legit this year, guys.
Mm-hmm.
I know we picked them to win the division. They look pretty good week 1 against the Lions. I know the score ended up being close at the end, but man, they can run the ball. That line's great. Hurts was throwing the ball well. I don't think he had a passing touchdown, but I believe they had 5 rushing touchdowns on the day. So when you do that, you don't really need to throw for the touchdowns. So Hurts look good. Eagles look great. Get that defense figured out.
And if you think that the Eagles look good, the Lions, they came back. I think all 3 of us are pretty high on them this year. Not saying that they're going to make the playoffs or anything, but that we project them to be better than they've been recently. I remember you guys said something about how can I think that the Lions are going to be like an 8-win team and not think that the Jaguars can do it? And I think that week 1, which I don't want to take too much away from week 1, but the Lions looked pretty good, and the Jaguars looked and did exactly what the Jaguars do. So I stand by my Jaguars should not have had as many picks or wins as we picked them to.
It was one game. We'll see.
It was one game. You're right. And I did say that. I said I'm not trying to stand on a hill here and say I was right, but
Wentz did play pretty well.
He did. Yeah.
It's not like they got blown out by Washington. They were winning with 2 minutes left.
Yep.
Yeah, so were the Titans.
They definitely had a chance to win that.
All right, week 1 summary. We'll talk about fantasy here in a second, but first we have a new segment.
Who's going here? I got music, and I'm about to drop this.
I'll go.
Rob's segment with some trivia.
It's trivia time.
God. I just played Anthony's.
I was going to say, wasn't that supposed to be Anthony's music?
All right, let's try this again. Rob's trivia. That was so much better for your thing.
All right. You guys got your pen and paper ready?
Yep. Ready, Freddie.
I'm going to give you a multiple choice. So there'll be 4 to choose from. Let me know when you're good to go.
I am so good to go.
All right. What is the most common color of plain M&Ms according to Mars Inc.? That is the maker of M&Ms. Which color is the most common? A, green, B, blue, C, orange, or D, red?
Boom. Got the answer right here. Let me know when you're ready, Tony. I'm going to hold it up so everybody knows I'm not cheating. Looking, you can see my paper.
And I will say the lowest, since I didn't have all the colors on there, the lowest 2 are, I'll say the lowest 1 because one of them is what I said. But brown at 13% of M&Ms is the lowest.
So I would have, if this was an open-ended question with no multiple choice, I would have 100% put brown.
Right. Yeah. When he asked the question, I was like, "Oh, brown, easy."
Yeah.
And then it wasn't even an option.
So brown is supposedly 13% of all M&Ms in plain packages. So if you want to reveal your answers, I will say
D, red.
A, green. And I just want to say the reason I put green is because I figured Mr. Roberto Green would be asking this question because it's cool that the answer is green. So what's the answer?
It is not green, and it is
crap.
not red.
Mm.
The correct answer is blue. So blue represents 24% of all M&Ms that are in circulation. That is plain M&Ms, as I said. The numbers were different for other flavors. So question 1, you both get an X. And just to get the full breakdown there, it's 24% blue, 18% orange, 16% green, 15% yellow, 14% red, and 13% brown.
We're just dropping knowledge tonight.
There's so much knowledge on this show.
So if you ever open a pack up and you get all brown or mostly brown, it's a very rare pack. Usually you're going to see mostly blues.
I think anyone who listens to this episode is going to have walk away with a associate's degree in liberal arts by the time they were done with it.
Well, I got a second trivia question for you guys. If you're ready.
Bachelor's degree. Let me fix that. Yep.
This is a fun one. What was the first toy to be advertised on television? Was it A, Barbie, B, G.I. Joe, C, Mr. Potato Head, or D, the Slinky?
Sounds like a bunch of Toy Story questions or answers.
Actually, they are all in. Well, yeah, because Slinky Dog is in.
Yeah. That's interesting. All right, baby.
Right. Reveal when you're ready.
C, Mr.
So Mr. Potato Head from Anthony, right? And
yep, and I put Barbie because I was thinking Barbie before you started giving multiple choice.
All right. So one of you got it right. The correct answer is C, Mr. Potato Head.
Woo, 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 woo.
Originally designed as plastic pieces to be inserted into a real potato, complaints over moldy vegetables soon led to the inclusion of the plastic potato body that we see today. So the first ad for Mr. Potato Head appeared in 1952, and in the first year, Hasbro sold over 1 million Mr. Potato Heads.
Wow.
So the advertisement worked, and they're still around today.
I think they should have kept the whole potato thing. It's good for the environment. You get sick of that toy. You're not throwing the plastic into the ocean. You just throw it outside. You're like, take those little plastic pieces out, chuck the potato outside.
You just replace the potato once a week and you're good.
Yeah.
Right?
These people think that potatoes are going to last forever. Squirt some lime juice on it. Maybe it'll last an extra week. But geez, beggars can't be choosers.
So there you go. That's the first segment of trivia time. I'll have two more for you next week.
And Anthony has
Anthony takes the 1-0 lead.
Yep.
I like it. I like it a lot. All right. Now we're going to fantasy time. We just recapped our week 1 takeaways. Now we're going to do that, talking about some fantasy aspects. Who was on our team or not on our team that we were surprised that they didn't show up, and who hit and had a great week. So start with disappointments. I've got a few to name off here. I've got Kyle Pitts to lead it off. We talked about him being in Ultraflex or Superflex, possibly the first non-quarterback taken, especially in Dynasty, because of how young he is and how many targets he had last year and all of that. And it's disappointing week 1, 2 receptions for 19 yards. So he did not have the start that we were hoping for. This could change tomorrow with Keenan Allen being out, but another disappointment for me was Mike Williams, 2 receptions and only 10 yards. And then I got 2 other ones, and I'll let you guys jump in. More tight ends to go along with Kyle Pitts. Not that they were expected to be amazing, but Irv Smith and Ryan's man, Cole Kmet, both had 0 points. Again, not that they were expected to be a top 2 or 3 tight end, but I would find it difficult that they aren't starting in most leagues. So to get 0 points from your starting tight end is disappointing.
Tough start on that Kmet train.
Oh, yeah. Remember when I said that Kmet was going to finish higher than Kelsey this year as one of my hot takes?
What's he got, about 30 points in the hole here? He's got to catch up.
I feel really good about that.
I'm sure you do.
so I'm gonna go next if that's okay.
That's fine.
I've got a bunch of disappointments here. Their names are Derrick Henry, Robert Woods, Austin Hooper, and Ryan Tannehill. I'm so mad at the Titans.
Titans offensive line.
Yeah, the Titans defense was just. I mean, I'm so disappointed with the Titans, but for real though, Derrick Henry did disappoint. Austin Hooper completely disappeared. I took him in late in a lot of best ball drafts, and I also was taking Robert Woods quite a bit later in best ball drafts, just because I figured he's the only like veteran receiver, and I know he was coming off an ACL, but I was hoping that because he was the only veteran, and um, I hoped he would acclimate to the offense quickly, but he just looks slow and unimpressive.
For sure. I got a few disappointments here.
Golly.
My big one was Travis Etienne. And not even so much for what his final numbers looked like, because he had 4 carries for 47 yards, which is good. But he only had 6 touches in the game, which is not what I was expecting to see out of him. So hopefully that volume ramps up here soon. I didn't expect James Robinson to look as good as he did coming off the Achilles injury. So that could be a roadblock there for the ETN breakout I was hoping to see. As a Bills fan, I think we'd all say James Cook's Bills debut was a disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
I think he could turn it around. I think his path to relevancy is probably more through the passing game than running anyway. So if he can figure out how to hold on to the ball, I think he can get more involved. And then my last one was more injury related, but he didn't play that well anyway with Dak Prescott. I think was a disappointment, obviously. And now all Cowboys for the next few weeks are stock down.
Yeah.
You don't believe in Rush?
Cooper.
Not too thrilled about it.
Anthony looked like he was about to say something.
Prizes. What did you say?
Oh, you're good. Go ahead.
I have not really surprises, but more so the fact that nearly every major receiver went off is just another testament as to why in Ultraflex it's more important to grab receivers than it is to grab running backs. And even in auction leagues, like if you're going to spend money, spend it on the wide receivers. I mean, all the top guys, Jefferson, Kupp, Chase, Diggs, AJ Brown, Adams, Pittman, Mike Evans, Hill, all had over 20 points. So, and they were probably, I didn't know how many I named right there, eight or nine. Those are probably the top 8 or 9 receivers. And for them all to go off week 1, it's a passing league. It's impossible to guard the guys that are near the top of their position. So go get those wide receivers next year.
Yeah, I had one written down that kind of goes along with that. I wrote down the old wide receivers. So I had like Kupp, Adams, Diggs. They're showing no signs of slowing down. Like some people might have traded them away in the offseason thinking that some of these younger guys will overtake them. And maybe they don't overtake them. They might produce as well as them, but these guys aren't slowing down. I expect them to be good well into their 30s.
I agree. So the players that I would go on surprised, I know you said it's not really a surprise, but someone like Patrick Mahomes doing what he did, it was the whole narrative was, is he going to be who he is without Tyreek Hill? And he goes out and throws 30 for 39, 360 yards and 5 touchdowns. Like Patrick Mahomes is, believe it or not, still Patrick Mahomes, and he's still good without Tyreek Hill. The dude is unbelievable. Second best quarterback in the league, Josh Allen. AJ Brown. I was down on AJ Brown, and I feel like an idiot now. 13 targets, 10 receptions, 155 yards. The guy just ate all day. Like, he was the only guy that Jalen Hurts needed to throw to.
Yeah, Devontae Smith had 0 catches.
Over 4, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he had a drop, but that's just unreal, man. He looked so good. The other one, so to mention, you brought up Ultraflex, Anthony, and how like we were targeting wide receivers heavy early, and just a reminder, Ultraflex is basically just one QB and a super flex position, and then the other 8 roster spots are just flex spots. That's where we got our name from, and we also say that it's the Ultraflex Football podcast because we ultra flex and talk about anything that we want to, basically. So we're ultra flexible on what we talk about, and Anthony's got huge muscles. Oh, don't mind my cat. Sorry, just knocked over his bowl.
Somebody's breaking things.
So we talk about whatever we want, and that's why we're ultra flexible. Or flexible. Yeah, that too. But Kareem Hunt was another one.
Yeah, great
I
game.
was targeting running backs late because I always go with basically not the 0 RB, but like hero RB or running backs late often when I do drafts. And Kareem Hunt was a guy that I was targeting, and he just showed again. He's so good. 11 carries, 46 yards, a touchdown, 4 catches on 4 targets, 24 receiving yards, and a touchdown. And that's in a bad offense right now with Jacoby
and
Brissett.
Chubb's still there.
And Chubb's still there. And Chubb did pretty good too.
Yeah.
Like, both of those guys can coexist in that offense and perform.
They might even do better now while Watson's out versus when Watson comes back.
That's an interesting, perspective. I wonder if that's true. We'll find out.
So it might be you might want to sell those guys later on once Watson comes back, even though you'd think it'd be the opposite.
Right.
Where like you probably want to buy a guy like Amari Cooper now after he had a bad week 1, but you figure he could probably do well once Watson comes back. So I had a surprise I wanted to throw out there quick. I think the Jets can be good for fantasy. Which all 3 of their wide receivers, Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis, and both of their big running backs, Breece Hall and Michael Carter, all had at least 7 targets. So I think as long as Flacco's playing, these guys can be played on your fantasy team. And I don't expect them to throw 59 times every week, but they're going to be losing probably most of their games. So they're going to be throwing a lot.
A lot of garbage points.
I want to shout out Flacco's name. Like, that's got to be like an all-time cool quarterback name, Joe Flacco. I just like, maybe because it sounds like Shane Falco from The Replacements, the movie, but Joe Flacco is just such a cool name. All right, sorry.
Who you guys
years
like?
In the league.
14.
I saw that today. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow.
That's
14.
unreal. Dude's made some money too along the way.
Sure.
Going into week 2, starting already tomorrow, since we're doing this on a Wednesday night. I'll name one guy that I like, and I'm kind of doubling down on him because I was high on him last week. One of my hot takes is he's going to be a top 5 quarterback. Derek Carr going against that Arizona defense. I think he is going to have a monster week. Arizona, obviously Patrick Mahomes is going to carve up a lot of defenses. But I think Arizona proved that their secondary can't stick with a good pass offense. So Derek Carr all week 2.
He was my start of the week at quarterback too, for the exact reasons you laid out there. Like, he's got one of the best matchups of the week. And obviously I didn't want to just say Josh Allen because I could say Josh Allen, but Derek Carr is the guy that to me that stuck out as he might not be your obvious like home run play every week, but this week I think he's a smash start.
My start for QB this week is Matt Stafford. I think he's going to have a big bounce back week. He's playing Atlanta. They have like one good defensive player. You cannot blitz Matt Stafford. You have to get organic pressure on him or he'll tear your team apart. And I think he's going to make up for what he did last week against the Bills.
My second start is, it's funny. I guess not really funny because of what happened, but 2 weeks ago, this player was getting pushed to the side, and then unfortunately, what happened with Robinson being shot, he got the starting spot back. Antonio Gibson looked really good last week against the Jaguars, and now he's going up against the Lions, which just allowed. I know the Eagles have one of the best rushing attacks in the league, but they allowed 4 rushing touchdowns last week. If you go back the last 8 games, the Lions are allowing the most points in the league going back to last year. So Antonio Gibson is going to have a big week.
My running back is Devin Singletary. I think any running back playing the Tennessee defense right now seems like they may actually. I was going a little bit deeper, by the way. Just someone you maybe. I mean, I don't think you're gonna get them off waivers, but someone who not everyone is probably starting, and I just think Devin Singletary is gonna just have a big game. He showed last week that he's the most reliable carrier in that offense. He's the only one that didn't fumble out of the 3. So I just think Devin Singletary is going to have a good game.
My running back start of the week, I'm going to Green Bay. I'm going with A.J. Dillon playing the Bears. He outperformed Aaron Jones in week 1. Now Rodgers gets to bounce back, have a big game week 2, and they're going to probably lean on the run second half to close out the Bears, and that'll be A.J. Dillon. Start him with confidence.
Let's go.
I like it. I doubled down on running back, partially because I messed up when we were planning for today's episode. But I also do believe that this person will have a good week. Chase Edmonds, he had 16 touches last week versus 6 for Raheem Mostert. So I think he is going to be the running back to have in Miami going forward. He's very effective in the passing game, so he's kind of like a receiver. So Chase Edmonds for me.
He counts as a receiver for you, Tony. We get it, man. You're tired. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm too tired.
So we were supposed to pick wide receiver. I went with tight end, and it actually goes along with your guys' quarterback. I'm going with Darren Waller if he's healthy. If Carr performs, it can't be all Devontae Adams, right? Or can it?
It might if week 1
it was in Green Bay for the last 7 years.
I know, but I think Darren Waller is a very good athlete. He's a top tier tight end, and I think that with that Arizona secondary, like you guys said, Derek Carr should have a great week. He's got to throw to somebody. I know he's got great weapons, but I think Waller is one of the top 2 weapons that he has. So,
yeah,
start him.
My start at wide receiver this week probably was my start at wide receiver last week, but I'm going with Marquis Brown. I talked about him, I think, every single week since we started the podcast. I got to stick by him. He had a decent week 1. Again, up like 13 fantasy points in PPR. But this game against the Raiders has the second highest over under the week. I think it's like 52.5 points or something like that. So they're anticipating a high scoring game, which I think makes sense. And we could see a back and forth shootout. So hoping for at least one long touchdown to Marquis.
See it. I could see
it. My sit-em includes all of the New England Patriots. They're going up against the Pittsburgh defense, the mess of the offensive coordinator situation and play calling. I don't think there is a reason to start any New England player this week against that defense.
Seems logical. Yeah. Don't hate it. My sit, I guess I could go with the same thing and just say sit every Titan, but I'm gonna go with Ryan Tannehill for the quarterback. If he's one of your options, don't start him this week. It's not going to be good. That's all I have to say. Just don't start Tannehill. It's not. I think
there could be a pattern there where you just want to avoid the Bills defense.
Yeah.
My sit at quarterback, I'm going with Marcus Mariota. I think the Rams will bounce back this week in a big way, and I know he was good week 1, and I expect him to not be good week 2.
Yeah, he counts as with the Titans that you should be sitting.
Yeah,
he was a Titan.
He was a fight, yeah, for a long time.
I'm not sure how many leagues he's starting in, maybe some of the deeper leagues, but for me, Javonte Williams proved how good he is and is going to be going forward. So if people are starting Melvin Gordon, to me, it is time to sit. And for the love of whatever you believe in, Broncos need to give the ball to Javonte Williams more than they are, because no one can tackle the dude. He was that way in college. He was that way last year, his rookie year. He was that way on Monday Night Football. All he does is break tackles and gain yards. So just give him the ball more and more and more.
Yeah, definitely. My running back to sit is David Montgomery. Were you thinking similar, Rob?
Oh, I'm on the same wavelength there.
Okay. Yeah,
He's my
I
sit of
do.
the week too.
He's not getting the workload that he used to. Khalil Herbert, he actually looks pretty good. Green Bay, you have to feel like they're going to bounce back in a big way with Aaron Rodgers, and I just do not think that the Bears are a good team. And the only reason that they won last week, in my opinion, is because they played on the great equalizer, the flooded field. Like,
Yeah,
there's no way they win that game if they would have played in San Francisco. So
yeah.
I'm saying just sit David Montgomery this week.
Herbert had 9 carries, 45 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah,
For giving
He
him
looked good.
touches. He did look good. It's funny because he doesn't really look like your typical running back when you see him play. Something about him, I don't know. He's just kind of a bigger guy, but he's smaller, but he's big.
Right.
He just doesn't look like what
He
you
just
typically
looks
see.
awkward, man.
Yeah, but he gets the job done. I like it.
He does.
So you have the same sit, Rob?
Yeah, mine was David Montgomery as well.
Cool. My wide receiver is Jarvis Landry, going up against that
Yeah, cut your mic off.
Tampa Bay. I think they're going to have to get Kamara more involved. Speaking of disappointments, he had a very disappointing week 1. I think they're going to try to shut him down and then be able to shut down Michael Thomas. I know he had 2 touchdowns, but he wasn't really getting separation. He's kind of more of a red zone target at this point in his career. So they'll probably put Winfield on Jarvis Landry and shut him down.
I like me some Jarvis Landry. I like me some Jameis Winston if he's playing, if he's healthy. If Winston's not playing, I saw that he was injured. That came up some point tonight. If he can get in and play, though, I don't feel good about sitting Jarvis Landry. I just want to put that out there. My sit for this week is Drake London. I think if Jalen Ramsey is going to be covering Drake London, I mean, if I was the Rams, I would put Ramsey on London. Just make it that simple. Take away their best receiver, or possibly Kyle Pitts, but I'd take away Drake London and make Mariota throw to Kyle Pitts and all of the other trash that they have lined up at wide receiver.
So it's a Kyle Pitts game, is what you're saying?
I mean, yeah, I think just out of sheer targets, because you're not going to target Drake London if Ramsey's on him. I know he gave up a ton against the Bills, but I don't think he's
perfect
washed.
passer rating.
Yeah, he gave perfect passer rating against the best route runner in the league.
He doesn't typically shadow guys, so I don't know why you would have him shadow a rookie wide receiver.
Because I live in my own world, Rob, and in my world, I say Jalen Ramsey, best cornerback, one of the best cornerbacks in the league, going against a rookie wide receiver who is the only good weapon besides Kyle Pitts.
He did lead the league in rookie receiving yardage in week 1.
He did. But honestly, do you feel good about Drake London this week? I mean, Mariota's probably going to be running for his life with Aaron Donald chasing him, breathing down his back all game.
I think they'll be playing from behind the whole game, so they're going to throw a lot.
Would you rather?
I don't expect a huge game out of him, but I think you could have like 4 for 70 and maybe a touchdown.
Would you rather start Jarvis Landry or Drake London?
Give me Jarvis, baby.
Landry looked good last week. I would still just start London because to me it's more fun. Like give me the young rookie if he does play good. I'm happy to have him in my lineup.
I've been on the Jarvis.
I also don't like Jarvis Landry from his time in Miami
because
as a Bills fan. So
Bills.
yeah, he was mean to us when we weren't good.
He pretty much ended Aaron Williams' career.
It was a nasty hit.
Jerk.
Rob, who's your receiver?
I don't like it because he's excuse me, he's talented, but my sit for wide receiver is CeeDee Lamb just because of the Dak injury. If you have better options, I would probably explore it at least for a week till we see. I just don't know what to expect out of him this week.
I would expect you to get hyper targeted, but because he's the only receiver there besides Dalton Schultz that's any good, and Dalton Schultz ain't a receiver.
And it's kind of why I said I didn't feel great about it because he is good enough to still get it done. I just didn't see a guy at the top that I loved as a sit this week where I just decided to go with CD. We'll see how it goes.
I mean, honestly, they're just when you say stuff like it, when you make predictions like this, you're just looking for a path, right?
Yeah.
Like there is a path where CD just, he can't get the catches because he's got Cooper Rush throwing to him, and to me, there is a path for Drake London not having a good game. He might have a couple catches for 50 yards or whatever, but if you have 3 catches for 50 yards, it's 8 points in fantasy. That's not going to win you a week.
There's not a path for the Buccaneers to shut down the Saints.
Oh, absolutely not, dude. I don't even see the path. I'm just kidding. Of course there's a path, but if you can see the path, that's why you put the name out there, right? This is fantasy football. We're all just guessing. Even the top analysts
I'm not
pick those games.
I'm not guessing.
Okay. The top analysts last week did not pick the games correctly. Rob, you probably did better than 95% of all analysts out there picking games against the spread. Like, Anthony, if you and I would have flipped our picks on all of them, we would have actually had a pretty good week. But I think I got 4 right out of 16 games.
You got 5.
Oh, I got 5.
You got 5 right. Give yourself some credit.
If I would have flipped them all, I would have had 11 right.
So if we want to segue there over to picks, I think it's a good time. We'll recap last week.
Let's get into picks. While you load that up for the picks, I'm gonna hit you with a quick dad joke because I'm in that mood. Why do fathers, see what I did there? Dad joke. Take an extra pair of socks with them when they go golfing?
Why do fathers take an extra pair of socks?
Do you want me to answer?
Yeah.
In case they get a hole in one.
Yes. Love it.
Oh, no.
Dad jokes, baby.
In case they get a hole in one.
It's like a classic one, yeah.
Oh, God.
All right, rapid fire. Let's pick some games, baby.
Yeah, I was just going to quick recap week 1. Ryan had 5 correct. Anthony had 6 correct. And our Twitter followers from the polls we ran on Twitter had 7. And then I had 9.
Show off.
So a good start for me. We'll see if I can keep it going in week 2. All right, I'll run through the games. You guys give me your picks, and then I'll give you my picks this week. So we'll start it off. The Thursday night game, Chargers at Chiefs. The line is Kansas City -4. So I'm going to give you the home team as the spread line each time. So it'll be either minus or plus, and that'll be the home team. So Chiefs -4.
Give me the Chargers with the points. The Khalil Mack edition, I think, keeps it close, and the Chargers are a good team.
Give me the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm on the Chiefs as well. I think the second best team in the AFC.
Yeah.
All right. Next game, we have the Colts at the Jaguars. Spread there is Jacksonville +4.
You know I'm taking Jacksonville with the points.
I'm going Colts.
4 seems so low, but I guess the Colts were not good last week, so that's probably part of it. Matt Ryan could be washed, but I'll go the Colts as well. 4 just seems too low.
I'm glad that I got 2 of the same as you because that means maybe I'll have a better record this week.
We'll see. I could have a down week. All right, next up, Panthers at the Giants. Giants -2.
Like I said last time, when it's anything under 3, I don't really care. So I'm just going to pick who I think wins. I think the Giants win. I think Dable's a better coach than Matt Rule. Matt Rule has never beaten anyone.
Yeah, I think they're going to ride that momentum from that Week 1 win over the Titans, and they will win to go 2-0 for the first time. And I don't know how long, but it's been a while.
So you're taking the Giants, Rob?
I'm taking the Giants, yeah.
All right, I was going Panthers.
Okay. We got a fun one up next. Miami at Baltimore. The Ravens are -3.5.
I unfortunately am going to admit that I'm picking this game with my heart. And as a Bills fan, there's just been too much hype that the Dolphins are good. So I'm hoping the Ravens go in there and just bleep all over them. So I'm going the Ravens.
What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Dolphins, and this is crazy because Anthony and I have picked every single game different so far.
That's pretty cool.
It is.
So I'm also going with the Dolphins because I think this to me is a 3-point game. I think it should be just based off what we saw Week 1. So I'll take the extra half point there, and I'll go Miami. I would pick the Ravens to win straight up, though. So
I would also.
All right, next up, we got the Patriots at the Steelers. The Steelers are +2 at home. I think the TJ Watt loss is playing into that.
I was like, give me, again, I don't care what the 2, give me Pittsburgh to win at home. I just don't trust New England's offense to do anything.
I agree. I don't think that New England's going to score, so I'm going to go Steelers.
I don't like when we all agree because that's how we get into the Denver situations. But give me Pittsburgh because I'd probably take them in a pick'em game. So give me the 2 points. Next up, Jets at Browns. Cleveland is -6.5. Wow. I believe that's the same line that the Ravens were last week, was -6.5 against the Jets.
I'm taking the Jets.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take the Jets. That's quite a bit of points for having a backup quarterback in there.
Yeah, getting 6.5 is how I took a pretty good lead on you guys last week. I'm also taking the points there, so give me the Jets. Does Cleveland deserve to be a 6.5 point favorite over anyone with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback? I think that's what it comes down to for me.
That line is crazy.
Yeah, I don't think it matters who they're playing. They shouldn't be that big of a favorite right now. All right, next up, we got Washington at Detroit. Detroit is a 1.5 point favorite.
Yes, give me Detroit. They played the Eagles well. I'll take Detroit.
I am also going Detroit. I just think that they're the better team.
I'm honestly shocked it's not a -3 line. So they think Washington's at least 1.5 better on neutral field, which seems crazy. I'll take the Lions. I mean, the Lions hung with the Eagles last week.
Yeah.
Washington barely beat your favorite team, Ryan.
The Jaguars. The Jets first.
All right, we need to pick something different here. We're all in the same here. Seattle at San Francisco. The 49ers are -8.5.
I'm going Seattle. To me, that's a lot of points, and I just don't trust Trey Lance to put up that many points. And Seattle still has DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, and I think they put up enough points to cover the spread.
Yeah, I'm going 49ers. I don't think Seattle is as good as they played last week, and that was just a bizarre game, and I'm taking the 49ers.
That was Pete Carroll's Super Bowl of the season to beat Russ. He wanted to prove that he could win without him. They're going to have a letdown game here. I still think the 49ers are a good team. They have a good defense. Lance should play better with another week to prepare. So
49ers for you?
Yep. Next up, we got the Falcons at the Rams. Rams are -10.5.
That's an insane amount of points.
A big
but
number.
I feel like they probably feel like they were embarrassed last week on national television, so they're going to try to come out and make up for that. So I'll take the Rams.
I'm right there with you. I agree. I'm taking the Rams.
Yeah, I wonder what the line would be if the Falcons hadn't played the Saints so tough. Would we be looking at our first like minus 15 of the year? Because it feels like that's probably the difference between these two teams. So I think just what we saw week 1 with the Bills beating the Rams pretty bad, and the Falcons hanging with the Saints. I think that line's a little off, so give me the Rams as well. Next up, we got the Cardinals at the Raiders. Raiders are minus 5.5.
Straight up, I would pick the Raiders to win. 5.5 is quite a bit, so I'm gonna pick Arizona to cover. But I think again, Derek Carr has a monster week, but Kyler Murray probably has a big week as well because the Raiders' defense isn't anything special.
I'm with you. I'm picking Arizona to cover that.
Yeah, we were all in Arizona last week and we got it wrong. What can go wrong 2 weeks in a row, right? Let's do it again. Arizona for me. We got the Texans again looking at 10 points. I think that's what they were last week at Denver. Denver's a 10-point favorite.
I hate that I feel like I'm picking all these huge spreads in favor of the better team, quote unquote, the team that's.
Do you want me to pick first? I'll pick Denver for you, so you feel better.
Well, yep, that does make me feel better. Thank you.
No,
again, Houston was playing to kind of show that they belong, and it was a division game. Denver just got embarrassed on Monday Night Football in Russ's first game. He's definitely not going to lose 2 in a row. I wouldn't think. I mean, you can't say never, but I think he comes out strong.
The Seahawks and then the Texans. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, that'll flush your season quick.
I'm taking the points with Houston.
Really? Just can't get enough of that.
You got Houston. Ryan's got Denver.
Yep.
I got Denver. All right. Next up, the Bears at the Packers. Green Bay is minus 10. There's a lot of 10-point lines this week.
How bad is
Green Bay?
Actually, you're going Green Bay. Oh man, I don't like it. I think I'm actually gonna go Green Bay. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I think they run the ball very well in the second half to close that game out easily. Give me Green Bay as well. Wow. Here's the big one. Tennessee at Buffalo. Bills minus 10.
Buffalo, Monday Night Football, home opener. They'll be ready to play.
Oh gosh. I'm a faithful, loyal Titans fan. And because I'm a faithful, loyal Titans fan, I'm going to go Tennessee.
I thought you were going to say because you're a loyal Titans fan, you can be realistic and see that the teams aren't matched up. No, I'm just kidding. I almost want to take Tennessee because Tennessee, the number 1 seed from last year, getting 10 points. Like, it's probably not going to happen again this year.
It's not just that, man. The Titans play good teams well. They're scrappy. They're like they've beaten the Bills the last 2 years. I mean, or was it 2 out of the last 3 years? But I don't know, man.
I do want to say I think every game the Bills have won in the last 2 years, they've won by at least double digits. So if you think the Bills are going to win, they're probably going to win by double digits. And I think they're going to win, so I'm going to take the Bills.
Oh, good. I already wrote you down for the Bills, so I'm glad you picked them.
I was considering Tennessee, though.
You were?
All right, a couple more here. We got Minnesota at Philadelphia. The Eagles are minus 2.
I think this is probably one of the best games of the week. I mean, Minnesota, especially fantasy-wise, there's a lot of fantasy implication here. So I'll just take Philly because they're at home.
Yeah, you're good. I agree. I'm taking the Eagles because you're getting that extra point. Usually it's -3 if they're equal, which I think they are. I think Minnesota's a little overvalued because they just beat the Packers. So take the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm going Vikings. I want to have a different pick than you guys. I got to catch up.
I was going to say that's what we should do is have whoever's in last pick last so they can try to make some different picks.
Yeah, for sure. And that's me. So
2 more games left. We got Tampa Bay at New Orleans. The Saints are +2.5 at home.
I'm going to pick Tampa to win that game. Again, when it's under 3, I don't care. So I think they win that game.
Yeah, I think Tampa Bay is the better team outright. So Tampa Bay.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. When it's that low, just give me the team that I think will win. That's the Bucs. And lastly, this line I didn't even see until today with Dak's injury. Cincinnati at Dallas. Dallas +7.5 at home. It's probably been a while since they've gotten 7.5 at home.
Yeah, that's a lot at home, but I still think Cincinnati is going to carve up Dallas's secondary, and shoot, I might want to change my stardom. I mean, I guess you always start Joe Burrow, but like he's going to have a monster week. Jamar Chase is going to have a monster week, and they're going to win by a lot.
Yeah, I think Chase will have a big week. I'm on the Bengals.
I'm going Dallas, and I had it written down before either of you picked yours, so that's
good.
Interesting.
So you didn't have to change it just to try to be different.
Didn't have to. I think it'd be interesting to see Cooper Rush go out there and throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but
there is a chance that they could get after Burrow and sack. I mean, he takes so many sacks. If Parsons gets 3 or 4 sacks, he could turn that game pretty easily.
Should be interesting. And Diggs on the outside, get some pick sixes.
All right, those are the game picks. It's on to Ryan's favorite segment.
Oh, man, I deleted the button for the cool segment.
Listener question of the week with no sound.
I'm so disappointed in myself. I'm going to have to fix that later. I also never played my own segment music, which I'm dropping the ball on all these.
It was the first time with the new music. We'll get there.
It was, yeah. We're working on it. I'm working on it. All right. This is from Anonymous. Favorite book genre. What is your favorite book genre?
I'll be transparent that I do not read enough books. But in general, I like a good biography. I like learning about people's past and a little bit about history. So I will say a biography.
All right.
You went from like, I don't read much, so you're thinking to yourself like, he's not smart, to I like a good biography. Like, oh damn.
If I am gonna read, I don't like to waste my I feel like a jerk because probably one of you guys are going to say like sci-fi, and then, to me, I don't enjoy that.
So sci-fi is one I like, but what I was going to say was like the fantasy genre with like Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings, those type of books. Just because when I read, I like to use it as like an escape and kind of just shut my mind off and go to a different place. So I like the cool settings and stories and battles and things like that. I also do like a good mystery story too, I will say, though. I like to try to solve it.
I will say I don't read sci-fi, mystery, stuff like that, but I do love watching movies like that. And I just can't sit down. Like I would so much rather, I guess I'm a visual person, so like I want to see it, and seeing it while reading it is completely different. And I know a lot of people get off on that, like, oh, I can put myself in my own.
No one's getting off on anything, all right, dude?
Not like that. I just meant get excited by like being able to read something and go to their own world in their head, and that's just not something that I'm really able to do. My favorite books are like Being Real. My favorite books are self-help, spiritual books. I don't read necessarily. I have all of my books on Audible, so while I'm working, I just put my earbud in and get some knowledge.
You
And
don't want to plug your book again?
oh, should I? I'm also an author, and I co-authored the book Zenployee: How to Master Your Mind to Create a Happy Work-Life Balance. So
Bada bing, bada boom.
that's not only a self-help book, but it's also a little spiritual. So I covered both.
Awesome.
And I'm also working on a book. So yeah. We'll see when that comes out though.
Well, thanks.
Good stuff.
Everyone for listening. Again, you can find us on Twitter at UltraflexFP, myself at Ultraflex Sutton, Rob is at Ultraflex Rob, and Ryan is at Ultraflex Ryan. Exciting week 1. We had fun recapping it and getting ready for week 2. Week 2 starts tomorrow, and we'll be back next week to recap week 2 and go from there.
All right. I deleted the outro music, so
At least you had it memorized. That's pretty good.
Go Bills.